Hey everybody, Jeremy here. Today I'm going to be cooking something in the Ninja Foodi that is pretty easy and it's also fun. I'm going to be making cereal-crusted chicken tenders. Can be something that you can do if you're looking for an appetizer, if you're looking for a quick snack, or if you got kids, something that they will enjoy too, because you can use whatever kind of cereal that you want. And I'm going to leave a link in the description to the Ninja Foodi website where you can find this exact recipe, and the person that's credited as putting it together, I believe his name is Justin Warner. So thank you very much for that recipe, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to do it here today. So this is everything that I'm going to be using to put this together. We're going to be doing the dry, wet, dry method before we air fry this in the Foodi. So I got myself here some chicken tenderloins. They were already cut up. You can get chicken breasts if you want and cut them yourself, but if you don't want to go through that and you just want to have them already cut up and prepared for you, then you can go out and buy those as well. I got here, this is a cup of flour, and I also put inside of here about 1.5 teaspoons of kosher salt. This is just 2 regular beaten eggs. And then over here, now this is the fun part. This is the crushed cereal. You can use whatever cereal that you want, but since I'm going to be following the recipe for the most part, I'm using Golden Graham cereal. This is about 1.5 cups of crushed Golden Grahams. And again, if you have kids, this can be a really fun thing because you can put this inside of a freezer bag and have them crush it. It's good to take out some frustrations too. Also in there is about 1 teaspoon of kosher salt and about another teaspoon and a half of pepper, just because. But I'm also going to season the chicken as well because, you know, I always like to season my chicken regardless of if there's seasoned flour or not. And for that, I am going to be using this stuff. I've used this before in some videos, Longhorn's Signature Seasoning. Inside of this stuff, it just has some really, you know, basic stuff: salt, pepper, garlic, and paprika, and some other sciencey things. So I'm going to season the chicken, and then when we're done, I'm going to coat it in flour. We're going to douse it in egg wash, and then finish it inside of the breadcrumbs. Now this might get a little bit messy because we are working with a lot of dry ingredients, and I can't see myself on the camera, so I will try to stay out of the way. All right, so we got our first bit of chicken right here. So just going to put this in the flour. See, I'm already spilling it. But the good thing about these small tenderloins is that it doesn't take much. All right, so now that we got that in the flour, we're just going to shake that off. Dip it inside of this egg wash on both sides. You can kind of just hold on to the end. Make sure that it's submerged. Let it drip off, and then into the breadcrumbs. Did I say breadcrumbs? I meant cereal. Usually this is done with breadcrumbs. All right, so just shake off the excess, and this is what is going to look like. So we're just going to put this onto a plate, and we are going to do the rest. So this is what they look like after I've coated them all with the flour, the egg wash, and the Golden Grahams. So now we have to transfer this over to our cooking crisp basket. Now I have to say the recipe does call to freeze the chicken for a couple of hours so that everything can be, you know, hardened and better adhered to each other. But I'm not going to freeze them. I'm just going to put them straight into the basket and air fry them. But if you try this recipe and you decide to freeze yours, leave me a comment and let me know how that turns out. All right, so we're going to take them one by one and lay them down inside of this basket. Just stuff them all in there. All right, so there they are, one big happy family. Now let's close it up and start crisping. So before we actually start the air crisping process, it also says to coat them with a little bit of oil. So I've got myself some olive oil cooking spray, and I'm just going to just a little bit of that. All right, now let's close it up. Let's turn this on. Hit air crisp, 390 degrees, and we're going to do this for 12 minutes and see how it turns out. So let's go. All right, that was 12 minutes. Let's open her up and see what this looks like. Yeah, that looks pretty much like I thought it was going to look. Little bits of crusted up cereal clinging on for dear life on the chicken. And it is done. So let's get it out and give it a taste. Here are just a few pieces that I took out. And I'm going to give it a cut and give it a taste. Let's start with this one right here. Comes apart very easily. Can you see the inside of that? So yeah, all white. It is cooked all the way through. Let's give this a taste. I really need to start blowing on this food more before I put it in my mouth because it's so hot. But you know, that's some pretty decent flavor. It's unique. You know, the Golden Grams are sweet, but they got this little bit of an aftertaste to them as well. That's kind of, I don't want to say tart, but it gets less sweet as that aftertaste hits you. And you get just a hint of that sweetness in here. It's almost like syrup, actually. That's what it is. It's exactly what it reminds me of. It kind of reminds me of chicken and waffles. If you have the KFC chicken and waffles that they got going on right now, this is kind of throwing me back to that. And that Longhorns, or the Longhorns that I used on here, it also has a little bit of a spice to it as well. So that's something that, if you're into spice or pepper, you'll like this. And honestly, this is making me want to just get a little bit of syrup and just drizzle a little bit of syrup on here. You know what? I'm gonna do that. I got me some Mrs. Buttersworth, and I'm just gonna drizzle just a little bit of it, not too much. Just give it a nice little glazing right there on the top. So let's try that now. Oh, I'm left-handed. What am I doing? All right. Yep. That's what it needed. A little bit of that syrup. I was just going to eat it just plain like this, but I have found out that if you choose to use Golden Grams with this, get yourself some syrup as well. Completely unhealthy for you, but it is good. Didn't think that we would go in this direction, but we did, and I'm glad that we did. Because it's kind of like the thing right now, right? Syrup and maple on poultry, and it's wonderful. So yeah. Once again, guys, I'm going to leave a link to the recipe on Ninja's website where you can see this for yourself. And feel free to experiment with whatever type of cereal that you want. Flavor is going to change depending on what you pick. But if you do choose to go with Golden Grams, it goes splendidly with some syrup. Good stuff. So once again, thank you all so much for watching. And until next time, I'm Jeremy, and I'll talk to you later.